and welcome back to the Premier League preview. This is week 3 of the show. In week 2 we had a fantastic weekend with the highest scoring weekend of all time. It started off with Everton battering West Brom 5-2 and was rounded off last night with Wolves losing 3-1 to Manchester City. Everton started the weekend with a very impressive performance as Dominic Calvert-Lewin scored a hat-trick and James Rodriguez scored his first goal for Everton. We also had Manchester United and Arsenal play on Saturday. Manchester United had a rubbish start to the season, losing 3-1 at home to Crystal Palace. Arsenal continued their good vein of form, beating West Ham 2-1 in a very competitive game where West Ham looked a lot better. Sunday saw the return of the goals. We had 5-2 in the game between the Saints and Tottenham Hotspur as Heung-min Son bagged 4 and Harry Kane got 4 assists. To round off the day, we also had Leicester who beat Burnley 4-2. A fantastic game once again, really showed the battle of the fullbacks, seeing Castagna, the new signing, and James Justin both doing fantastic for Leicester City. And like I said, yesterday's final game was Manchester City versus Wolves. Manchester City kicked off their season with an important 3-1 win over Wolves, who look like, once again, they'll be challenging for the European places. Looking forward to next weekend, we have Brighton, who host Manchester United, a vitally important game for United, who are looking to restart their campaign as fast as possible after a upsetting start for many Manchester United fans. This weekend we also have Manchester City taking on Leicester City. We have high-flying Everton taking on Crystal Palace, who have been doing equally as well. West Brom also take on Chelsea, and the big game of this weekend happens on Monday with the champions Liverpool taking on Arsenal. The first team to watch I have chosen this weekend is Manchester United, who suffered a shock defeat on their opening day against Crystal Palace. Crystal Palace were fantastic on the ball and they were clinical in front of goal, but the main talking point about that game was that dubious penalty decision which was given against Victor Lindelof. Of course, that can be debated as much as you like, and personally I don't believe it was a penalty. However, at that point United was still losing and still didn't look like a great side. United fans will be hopeful though this weekend against Newcastle that they will eventually turn the game round. And against Newcastle, who have been 50-50 so far this season, they've won one and looked impressive and lost one and looked nowhere near the side they were the week before. United will be looking forward to this game, hoping that they get the team that Newcastle played and showed last week rather than the team that absolutely obliterated on the opening day. For my second team to watch this week, I have chosen Everton and Crystal Palace. I have chosen the game because I believe this game could be a huge game. Not necessarily in the grand scheme of things, but for the current form. Both teams have started really well this season and will be looking to continue their 100% records. Crystal Palace have obviously beaten Manchester United and the Saints, who are both good sides, both top half sides really when we think about it. And Everton have beaten West Brom and they have also beaten Tottenham. And this could be a massive game for both teams' seasons. They would love to keep their unbeaten run going for as long as possible. I personally think that Everton will outclass Crystal Palace this weekend. Everton have looked fantastic on the ball. The Dominic Calvert-Lewin hat-trick this weekend showed how good Everton were. Dominic Calvert-Lewin didn't have to score from outside the 6-yard box in order to gain a hat-trick, which is something you don't often see in the modern game. Crystal Palace, on the other hand, have been fantastic themselves. Zaha has scored 3 goals already this season and has been looking back to his best. And maybe it's because he's looking for a few potential suitors to take him away from Selhurst Park and into the Champions League. However, my prediction for this game is an Everton win, but I could see Crystal Palace doing one over on them, and that's why it's a game to watch rather than a team to watch this week. And my final team to watch this week is Sheffield United. Sheffield United have been one of those sides this year who just haven't really got going. They looked a little bit shaky after the lockdown break, after the whole COVID break which we had. However, since the return to football and the return to the season, Sheffield United haven't looked themselves. They've not looked as good as they were last season, which saw them charge up the table and eventually finish top half. So Chris Wilder and his men will be looking forward to this weekend against Leeds. This is an opportunity for them to really get some form, get a win under their feet, and say we're here to stay, we're not just a one season wonder, and get themselves going. Push themselves off that, I believe they're 17th in the table at the minute, push themselves off that relegation battle and kickstart their season. Moving on to players to watch this week, the first player I have chosen is Raheem Sterling. Sterling played a big role in Manchester City's opening day win against Wolverhampton Wanderers, getting an assist himself. We know Raheem Sterling can score goals and he can get assists, and he will be vitally important in this game against Leicester. The reason I have chosen Raheem Sterling over the likes of someone as Kevin De Bruyne is because Raheem Sterling is going to be playing on the wing. I think this is where Manchester City can exploit Leicester City, with having flying fullbacks of Castagna and James Justin. I believe that they will be able to get in behind and expose those flying fullbacks on the counter-attack. I think this could be vitally important to the success of Manchester City against Leicester City this week. The second player I have chosen is Danny Ings. Danny Ings was a shining light in the result against Tottenham Hotspur, having opened his account for Southampton this weekend with a fantastic goal. It really was a great goal against Spurs this weekend. He also scored a penalty, and that'll be a great confidence booster for Danny Ings to prove to himself and to other people that he is not just this one season wonder. Danny Ings will be facing Burnley, and that has a special place in his heart because he's an ex-Burnley player. He will be looking to show the fans of Burnley that he made the right decision moving away and moving to Liverpool and then on to Southampton. And it could be a big weekend for Danny Ings in the sense that if he gets some goals behind him, he will feel really confident for the upcoming season and could shape how Southampton do this season, provided they get a win. My final player I have chosen is part of the big game against Liverpool and Arsenal. The player I have chosen isn't any of the big three, any of Mo Salah, Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, or Sadio Mane, or even Roberto Firmino, but I have chosen Gabriel. The centre-back has just signed for Arsenal and he's only 22 years old. I think this could be a huge game for Arsenal in that sense. If Gabriel has a good start and cements his place in the team with this game, it could be the start of great things for Arsenal. However, if he has a shoddy game or doesn't look at the races all the time, we could see maybe a change of personnel in that Arsenal defence, and that could really determine how well Gabriel does in an Arsenal shirt. Of course, there'll be plenty of games for Gabriel to make an impression, but this is his first big key challenge that he has faced so far this season, because the likes of Fulham and West Ham just aren't quite the same as the champions of England. Anyway, that concludes this week's Premier League preview. I hope you've enjoyed, and if you have, be sure to like and subscribe and leave a comment down below who you think this week's Player of the Week will be. I've been Sam Redgate-Large, thank you for watching.